I'd like to summarize, and then I'm going to dare to do a quick little live demo of creating an executable that I can run on the command line, as well as a dynamic library, and I'll show you how the first time I run it, it will fail, and the second time it will succeed because I've actually built the library in there. So just to summarize, Lasso09 lets you create natively compiled extension libraries that dynamically load types, traits, or methods. You can also create standalone executables that can be run on the command line or double-clicked. Lasso ships with the freely available Lasso compiler tool, which produces these libraries and utilities. And the files that you produce are royalty-free. You can distribute them however you want. We also include the make file, which eases development. And I believe on this slide, it does have the URL for the Lasso09 source repository. The Lasso09 source repository, if you navigate there, you'll see it contains quite a few files, and that's the bulk of Lasso Professional is right there available in source code form. So if you're wanting to get up to speed with coding in Lasso09, that's a great place to start because it's all native Lasso09 syntax, it's all native Lasso09 code and types, and that's a great place to get some examples.
Just a question?
Yes, please.
The Lasso C, when you compile that, compared to C compiled program, is that how?
Yes, it's analogous. If I compiled an application in C, I would get the same thing that I might get if I compiled using the Lasso compiler, and then gave that resulting file from the Lasso compiler over to GCC, and it would assemble it into a regular executable for that platform. So I have here here's my sample web file. It doesn't do anything very spectacular. It says hello, and then it asks an array to speak. And some people might say arrays don't speak. And that's true, they don't. So the definition wasn't found, because array speak does not exist. So I have Lasso running here. I'm going to stop it. I have a test source file, test.lasso. You can see in this, I'm defining a type that has foo. I'm not going to use that type, but I wanted to show how you can include different types of objects. Below that, I'm adding a speak method. I'm adding the ability for arrays to speak to you. And this is what I tried calling earlier, and it failed. So I have this. This file is right in there. I'm going to type make test.dialog, and it's going to build it. And you'll see if I had a typo, I get the syntax error. But because I built that successfully the first time, the file exists. So now I'm going to restart Lasso server, which you do need to do. Well, actually, I didn't need to do that in this case, because it would have tried again if I had run it a second time. It would have tried again to find the speak method, and it would have existed that time. So array speak was called. So I just added an extension to the array type, and it was natively compiled. I could distribute that dynamic library to an end user, and they wouldn't have my source code, and there's no way to get the source code back out of it. Do another quick example here. I'll comment that out.
You skipped a step for me. How did Lasso server know where to find this new definition added to it?
The make
That's
file.
Automatically done by using make? Or
The make file, when it's done creating the result, it copies it into the right place.
So that's done
The Lasso
for you.
libraries, that's done for you as well.
Oh, great.
And you can edit, the makefile is a simple, it's, I'll just pull it up here and show you what it looks like. It has a lot of
Oh,
stuff.
now I understand.
Yes. It contains a lot of definition, it contains paths to various locations. It's very clear.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
The makefiles can be quite hairy.
in class and I got it all.
Makefiles can be quite hairy, difficult to use. This is why we've tried to make it as generic as possible, so you really don't need to go in and edit it at all, which I'm sure you can appreciate. I had mentioned how you can read command line arguments, and what I'm going to do with this little tool is I'm going to make an executable called test, and it's going to log the arguments that were passed. We provide, so an application like this declares two variables, argc and argb, which are standard things that you would get if you're writing an application in C, for example. We try to mirror that to make it something people can be used to. Since it's all new for Lasso 9, it's not really an issue. And all I would do to make that file into an executable is type make test. And the makefile copies that into the Lasso executables folder, and so it's there. And so I'm going to run it. And what it told me that the arguments passed, well, there's basically none. But the standard convention is to pretend that the first argument was the name of the executable. This is useful if you want to create a link to an executable. You can see what it was actually called with, because it's included as a parameter. But I can say test 2, 3, hello, and you see that it gets all those arguments passed in on the command line. And this is a regular Mach-O executable, which means it's a standard OS X application, just like anything, like terminal itself. So that's about it for the presentation. I'm willing to answer any questions about this in particular, or about Lasso 9 generically. Anybody have something?
Are you done yet?
Am I done yet? With this or with that?
It's just an active question.
Yes. Not done yet, I'm sorry. As soon as this conference is over, I can get back to work. Anything?
What will be the features of Lasso.1?
Of Lasso,
Lasso 9.1.
which will be the features?
Of Lasso 9.1, yeah.
Oh, of 9.1. Well, we haven't exactly started planning that far ahead. I can tell you what the features in 9.01 will be.
Okay.
Whatever was broken in that. Which, we are.
That is a pretty big accomplishment to fix everything.
Whatever we know is broken.
We'll let you know.
As I mentioned when we opened the conference, it's a very big project, and we are committed to quality, and that's one of the reasons why we're taking the time to make sure we do it right.